Today we're taking a look at dev container features and lifecycle hooks. As a refresher, a dev container essentially packages up your project's development environment using something called the Development Container Specification, which will enrich your container with metadata and content necessary to enable development from inside of the container. Now, features allow us to add runtimes, tools, and libraries to our dev containers, while lifecycle hooks ensure that certain actions or tasks are executed at a specific time in the lifecycle of a dev container. All this put together ensures a consistent and reproducible development environment from any tool that supports the specification. And for a list of those tools, be sure to check out the link in the description. In the later half of this video, we'll also run through how to add a feature to an existing dev container configuration, so you can get hands-on with all these concepts. All right, let's dive right in. Let's now take a look at a feature. I'll select one from the community index of features on containers.dev. I'll have the link in the description. I'm gonna search for Git. I've been working with the Git LFS one recently, so we'll open that one as an example. And we can see that each feature lives inside of its own folder and contains at least two files, the dev container-feature.json file and the install.sh. Let's click on the dev container-feature.json one. And this file is meant to contain all the metadata for the feature. So we see an ID, a version, documentation, URL, and a couple of other things. I did want to make note of this here. The post create command, this is actually a lifecycle hook, which we'll take a look a little deeper in a bit. But we can see that this specific key value here is telling us that we need to execute this script on post create command. Let's go back and take a look at the install.sh. And the install.sh script essentially is sort of like an installation entry point script. And this might set up dependencies, environment variables, or perform other setup tasks required for your development environment within the container. One of the key strengths to dev container features is versatility. They are built to be compatible across a wide range of base images, although some features may be specific to an operating system or a distribution. By specifying the desired feature in your dev container configuration file, they're going to automatically be included during the build process. And we're going to take a look at how to do this in just a little bit. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Lifecycle hooks are essentially commands that are executed at a specific predetermined point in your dev container's lifecycle. And this strategic execution allows for a very high degree of automation, ensuring that tasks are executed exactly when they need to be executed and without the need of manual intervention. Let's take a look at the available lifecycle hooks. OnCreate command initializes the container with necessary configurations right after it's created. Update content command refreshes or updates the container's content following the onCreate command lifecycle hook, ensuring that any changes in the source are applied. And the postCreate command applies final setup configuration specific to the user once the container is ready to use after the update content command. PostStart command ensures that certain tasks are performed every time the container is restarted, maintaining the necessary environment or settings. And then PostAttach command facilitates the execution of tasks each time a tool is successfully connected to the container, enhancing the tool's integration or functionality within the container. Through these lifecycle hooks, dev container features automate the setup process from initial creation to daily operations, ensuring that your development environment is consistent, efficient, and tailored to your project needs. Let's now take a look at how to add a feature to an existing dev container configuration. You will need to make sure you have VS Code installed and the dev containers extension, and I'll link a video in the description for you to go and set that up. Now, in my example, I have a Python project. We see a Python file here. And then I also have a dev container folder and a dev container.json file, which is the configuration file for my dev container, right? Now, in my terminal, if I type in, for example, AZ, which is the Azure CLI, it's not going to work because it's not installed. So we can actually do Control-Shift-P to invoke the command palette and type in configure container features. which is part of the dev containers extension. And then once I click this is going to allow me to scroll through available features that I can install. And I'm going to type in Azure CLI, and I'm going to click on this one. Then I'm going to hit OK. Now we can choose to keep defaults or configure options. I'm just going to keep defaults. And of course, these options will be different depending on the feature itself. Now I've added that, and we can see that in my devcontainer.json file, this feature section now has the Azure CLI listed inside of it. Now what I can do is rebuild my container. We see that VS Code prompted me. Configuration files changed. The container might need to be rebuilt to apply the changes. So I'm going to hit rebuild, and let's give VS Code a moment to rebuild the dev container for us. All right, and as we mentioned before, once you do specify the features in your devcontainer.json configuration, they're going to be part of the build process of your container. So now if I type in AZ, we can see that I no longer get an error, and it's giving me actually the help menu for the Azure CLI. And congrats, you've officially added a feature to your dev container configuration. And that's it. We've covered dev container features and lifecycle hooks, and we've even added a feature to an existing dev container configuration. I'd encourage you to check out the links in the description for more resources and try to see how you can add features to your own dev container configurations. With all that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesome VS Code videos.